This is the present situation. Pants too tight. Check it out. Overalls won't button up. Blood pressure is increasing. Complicated by my bike buddy's injured, work time constraints. Precipitating factors are I purchased a digital tailor scale from Walmart for about $40, and it has a really small display. There must be some device that will record and plot it for me, some Bluetooth device. Well, what about Garmin? I've been using an A10 Edge computer for biking, and it plots data to the free connect.garmin. Surprise, they have the Garmin S2 Smart Scale. For $130, Amazon had it on my porch the next day. But wait, the Garmin Index Smart Scale says my BMI is 26.45, and the Center for Disease Control and National Institute of Health charts say that I'm overweight. No way. I've never been overweight. So I need a plan. This is the plan. I can grow 2 inches, or I can set a target for 165 pounds. Then the Garmin app says, focus on both diet and exercise. I've never dieted before. Cutting calories is shown to be the most effective for weight loss, it says. And I'm not into cutting calories and doing without. I just don't do well with giving up things. So I'm not going to diet. The amended plan now becomes running. I'm not into agony. I've heard of endurance, low intensity, MAF, 80-20, zone 2, and on and on. I'm going to need a fitness watch and a better heart rate strap. I get interested after a YouTuber and running guru, DC Rainmaker, reviews the Garmin Venu 2 Plus. Garmin was using it for EKG research. It costs $450. It's thinner and lighter than most fitness watches. Amazon had it on my porch the next day. So now I'm armed. I have the Garmin Venu 2 Plus watch. I have the Garmin HRM Pro Plus heart rate strap. I have the Garmin Index BPM for blood pressure. Garmin Index S2 Smart Scale. That's the one that said the body mass index was out of range of normal. My Garmin Edge 1040 GPS bike computer and Garmin Connect app for data collection and analysis. No, I'm not on Garmin's payroll. So what protocol shall I follow? The Copenhagen City Heart Study says 1 to 2.4 hours a week in 3 sessions. If you do less than 1, if you're sedentary, well, that's not any better than doing over 2.4 hours. I'm going to do a YouTube on an in-depth review of the Copenhagen City Heart Study. So that translates to 20 minutes to 48 minutes 3 times a week. They do specify it needs to be spread out over 3 times a week. You can't do it all at once. It's got to be 3 times a week, 20 to 48 minutes. More or less shortens your life. More than 2.4 hours, less than 1 hour, they say, is not maximum longevity. We'll look at that in other medical studies, because there's some medical studies that say Olympians live an average of 5 years longer than the normal population. So how can both of those things be true? You would think an Olympian certainly exercises more than 48 minutes 3 times a week. We'll look into that. So I start with 33 minutes 3 times a week. And the results for the Copenhagen City Study protocol, let's look at the Garmin Connect app. This is my Garmin Connect account, and this is the whole year of 2022. And you can see last January and February, March, there wasn't much bicycle riding. These green bars are bicycle riding, and they picked up a little in May and June and July. My bicycle riding buddy was out with a medical issue, so I'm not in the summer riding as much as I did in previous years. My solution is to run. November 6th is my last bicycle ride, and here's where I start running. Let's look at this month. There it is, Chesterfield Cycling. And then here we start with the Clarkson Valley Running. And I have my Venue 2 Plus watch. You can see it in the details. Here is the watch. There's a lot of walking. Here we are in November. First time I ran. Garmin Artificial Intelligence says I start base building. And notice a finish base building. Base building in their algorithm only takes a week. And then you actually start working. Well, what I have in mind takes maybe years. Well, 2 at the most. I mentioned that I was targeting 33 minutes 3 times. You can see this is 36, 35, 32. So 2 miles is about 30 to 40 minutes for me, starting out. Now, I did push-ups, and it turns out that the venue, view details, knew that I was doing push-ups and how many reps that I did. That cardio, that's cutting firewood. You can see that's the Venue 2 Plus with the HRM Pro Plus. This is what Venue 2 Plus records. The elevation, the pace, the heart rate, run cadence, how much time you spend running, and how much time you spend walking. And we can also see the pace. So my pace or speed should pick up, and the heart rate is staying the same. The heart rate stays in zone 2, and as I get more efficient, I go faster. I am exercising in zone 3, thinking I'm exercising in zone 2, and I don't realize it until I start using the Garmin 955 Forerunner, and that is on February 9th, the Forerunner 955 and the HRM Pro Plus. And you can see all the additional data we have. Elevation, pace, heart rate. See, my average heart rate is 103, and that's what I want to keep it below. It gives you performance in a condition, stride length, run cadence, power watts, vertical ratio, ground contact, time balance, respiration rate, stamina potential, and here we have the run walk. So let's go back to the calendar. 2022, these were sparse bicycle rides. Here is where I started running. This is the Garmin's base building week. The red is health recordings, and some of the green bars are bicycle butt conditioning rides. Here's 2023. Here's February 9th when I started the Zone 2. And I'm going to show the Zone 2 results versus all the previous running was in Zone 3. Does the Zone 2 actually help anything? And if so, what? If we go to activities here, all activities, so if I click on the runner, it shows all the running that I've been doing recently back to January 21st. These columns can be adjusted. There's probably 20 or 30 more columns that you can put in here, and it will export them to the CVS file, which is what I'm going to do in a minute. So right here on February 9th, I start running in zone 2, which is labeled blue and easy. So it's kind of a psychological bummer to just think you're doing easy stuff. The best pace is going to turn out not to be the best thing to look at. So I went over here and I clicked on export CSV. You can't see it because it's behind my picture. You upload that file. I'll make a video on how to do that. And the file is in Google Sheets. And here's the things that get exported. And I deleted a lot of these columns. I just left some that I thought I could use to show the difference between running and training in the different heart rates. So you can see this is February 9th. So I plotted 2 plots. This is zone 3. This is what I started out with. This is all zone 3 here. You can see my heart rate is right around 114. That's the red line. The blue line through it is a trend line. Now it's a trend of the averages because these heart rates are average for the whole run. Down here is the average pace. You can see it's all over the place. Here's the pace, 22, 14, 40. And this is the trend line for the pace. So in my training over these 2.5 months at this consistent heart rate has improved my pace only a small amount. But if you come down here after February 9th to March 16th, I'm in zone 2. Now my heart rate is just barely above 100, and that's the trend line and all the average heart rates and the trend line through the average heart rates. And down here is the average pace and the trend line through the average pace for each of these runs. And you can see it's just above 18 and it goes down to just above 17. That's a significant improvement, and I think it's better than what I was doing in zone 3. I tried to look at best pace, but it has me in a 5-minute and 6-minute mile over here. You can see these numbers right here. Best pace 5:53, 5:19. I don't run that fast. I don't know how Garmin calculates it, but that's what these lower points are. And in the zone 3, best pace is showing improving, and there's the heart rate straight across, but at the 114 or so. And if you come down here, this is zone 2 from February 9th to March 16th, and it shows the best pace is not improving very much. But I don't trust these numbers because I'm not running nearly 5-minute miles. So I'm going to be looking at the average pace, and when this trend line levels off, that's when I have done all the aerobic training I can, all the zone 2 training I can, and it's time to either start running further or running harder, high intensity interval training. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens with this zone 2 as we continue from March 16th. And if you like this, please let me know. A couple more interesting indicators. I don't know how Garmin comes up with a race predictor, but if you go into reports, running race predictor, it predicts the race time. And we can see when I started according to Garmin's idea of how you should run a race, you could see the prediction is going down. Now, once I started zone 2 training, it's starting to come back up. we can see in the 4 weeks, but this is just the last week. It's starting to come up. The thing we started off with was blood pressure and weight. So let's see how that's going. Under health stats, here's weight, the 1 year frame. I started at 172.3. Now I'm not dieting, and this is now 168.8. But where has this weight loss come from? If we look at skeletal muscle mass, it looks like skeletal muscle mass is decreasing, but skeletal muscle mass also includes the water in it, the bone mass, body fat. I'm getting fatter, except for the last week. Body mass indexed 26.07, 25.77. But I think this is too narrow a time frame to really say anything. I haven't done anything eating wise that I've changed. The blood pressure. Now, if you look at the year, if there's just one data point in the month or in the week, it reports it the worst case scenario. So if we look at the 4 weeks, February 21 to March 20th, so this is the last week, you can see there's a lot of green dots. Okay, so let me know what you're finding out. If this is consistent with actually taking measurements on your own body and your own work. So I don't have a whole lot of data. This is initial amount, but it is encouraging. If you want to follow, subscribe. If you liked it, please smash the like button. Thank you.